You are not my daughter. You're nothing but a burden. Get out now. The heavy wooden door slammed open, the echo rattling through the house. It had only been a week since the funeral, but the home had not known a single day of peace. 6-year-old Lily Anderson stood clutching a small suitcase, her eyes wide with confusion. This was once her home, where her mother's songs filled the air and her stepfather, Mark, read her bedtime stories. Now that warmth was just a memory. Mark Anderson, 40, a man who was once gentle, collapsed into a leather armchair. His shirt was wrinkled, his hand gripping a half-empty glass of liquor. His voice was a raw, unstable roar. Lily flinched, her hands trembling. As she tried to move, a sudden shove from behind sent her tumbling down the steps. The suitcase burst open, clothes scattering. Her old teddy bear, a birthday gift from her mother, rolled onto the cold tile floor. She knelt, sobbing, her voice breaking. "I'll be good. Please don't throw me out." But no one helped. Not until a millionaire stepped through the gate, extended his hand, and said, "From now on, you're coming with me." What city are you watching this video from, and what time is it? By the way, if you're enjoying my videos, I'd be so happy if you could subscribe to my channel and like this video. The woman standing nearby, Jessica Hayes, 30, the cousin of Lily's late mother, rushed to Mark's side. Her tight red dress and golden curls shone under the lamp, her lips painted a sharp, bright red. She touched Mark's arm, her voice a fake calm purr. "Mark, stop, you poor thing. You've had too much to drink." But when she turned to Lily, her eyes flashed with a cruel mockery that vanished as quickly as it appeared, hidden behind a mask of compassion. Lily saw it, but she didn't dare speak. Outside, in the yard of their Lake Forest home, a few neighbors watched from behind their fences. They whispered, they sighed, but none of them dared to intervene. The doors of that house had been closed to interference for a long time. Lily struggled to her feet, grabbing the teddy bear and clutching it tight. Her eyes shone, tears streaming down her cheeks. She whispered, almost to herself, "Daddy, you promised you'd never leave me." Mark staggered down the steps, his face dark. "Stop pretending. Get out." "I told you." Lily knelt, her voice broken but clear. "I'll be good. I won't make any noise. I can sleep on the sofa. Please just don't make me go outside. Don't call me Dad," Mark roared. "Your mother is gone. It's over. I'm not carrying any more dead weight. I'm not dead weight." Lily shook her head, gripping the bear so tightly her knuckles turned white. "I can make oatmeal just like Mom taught me. I'll study hard. Please don't drink anymore. It scares me." "Shut up." Mark pointed a finger right in her face. "You're just like her, always dragging me into the past." "The past is our family," Lily sobbed. "You used to give me piggyback rides in the park, don't you remember?" Jessica leaned in, her voice smooth, dripping like oil onto the fire. "Mark, that's enough. Let her learn to leave on her own." She whispered in his ear, a fleeting, triumphant smile on her lips. "Daddy, please." Lily pressed her hands together. Her knees were scraped from the tile floor. "You're all I have left. Out." Mark gritted his teeth, shoving the suitcase farther into the yard. Her clothes spilled onto the grass. "Don't make me say it again." Just then, firm footsteps sounded on the walkway. A tall man in a cream-colored suit crossed the gate, carrying a black leather briefcase. His hair was neatly combed. His face was stern, but his eyes held both determination and compassion. This was Julian Rivers, 35, a prominent Chicago attorney and founder of Rivers and Associates. He represented major corporations and possessed a fortune the press often discussed, but he never flaunted it. Today, he wasn't here on business. He was here because of a promise made to Sarah, an old friend who was gone, to check on her daughter. But the scene before him stopped him cold. The little girl, crumpled on the steps, clothes scattered, bear cast aside, while Mark swayed and the woman beside him smiled victoriously. Without a word, Julian moved forward. He picked up the teddy bear and placed it gently in Lily's hands. His voice was quiet but resolute. "That's enough, Mark. Is this how you treat her?" Mark tensed, then snarled, "Julian, who do you think you are? This is my house, my family. Get out." Julian stood tall, his gaze locked on Mark's. "Your family business is throwing a motherless child onto the street?" This is the daughter of the woman who once loved you with her entire life, Mark. Lily clung to the bear and looked up. Her eyes were overflowing, but deep inside, a tiny light flickered. The first since her mother died. Julian turned, extending his hand to her. He spoke slowly, each word hanging in the dense air like an oath. "From now on, you're coming with me." Lily hesitated. She looked at Mark, waiting for him to stop this, to say something. But Mark just looked away, turning back toward the house. Jessica smiled, victorious. Finally, Lily's small, trembling hand touched Julian's. Behind her, the front door slammed shut with a heavy final echo, sealing the end of her past life. It was also the moment that marked the beginning of a new journey. Julian knelt, gathered the broken suitcase, and quickly stuffed Lily's few belongings back inside. He wiped the dust off the teddy bear with his jacket sleeve and returned it to her arms. He helped her stand, her small hand gripping his wrist as if afraid he might vanish. "Let's go, sweetheart," Julian said softly. He opened the door of his Bentley, buckled her into the seat, and adjusted it for her small frame. Lily hugged the bear, her eyes red, unable to look up. Julian's cream vest was smudged where she leaned, but he didn't notice. He turned on the heat, checked the belt again, and closed the door. Across the porch, the front door remained closed. Next door, Mrs. Eleanor Price, the elderly neighbor, pulled her curtain back just enough to see. She opened her window and called out to the empty street, her voice trembling but firm. "That child did nothing wrong." Julian looked up and gave her a nod of gratitude. He would remember that face. Truth needed witnesses. He got behind the wheel and started the engine. Inside the car, the air felt heavy. Lily sat motionless, clutching the bear so hard her nails dug into the fabric. Speaking slowly, keeping his voice low, Julian said, "I'm Julian. You're Lily, right? I think I heard your mother talk about you." Lily's lips barely moved. "My name is Lily." Julian managed a small, sad smile. "Your mother was the best friend I ever had. I promise, I won't leave you alone." Lily shifted, her head still down. "Mom used to talk about Uncle Julian," she murmured. "She said you were the only one who always helped her." He took a deep breath. "Thank you for telling me that. Things will be different now. You're safe." Lily hugged the bear tighter. After a long pause, she whispered, "Can I stay with you? Just for tonight?" "Of course," Julian said immediately. "My place is in Lincoln Park. There's a guest room. I'll call my housekeeper, Mrs. Parker, and have her get warm blankets ready." Julian's phone buzzed. The name Anna Roberts, his personal assistant, lit the screen. He silenced the call. He didn't want to break the fragile calm. Instead, he typed a quick message. "Don't call. Handling something important. I'll contact you later." His firm was used to him prioritizing people, especially children, over work. The car pulled away from the quiet suburb. Julian offered her a small bottle of water from the console. "Take a sip." Lily took it with both hands, taking tiny sips, careful not to spill, as if one mistake meant it would all be taken away. Julian watched her in the rearview mirror. "When I was about your age," he said, "I also had to leave a place that was supposed to be home. I grew up in foster care. Some days I felt invisible, but your mom saw me, and I had a friend. Someone who helped me through the darkest part." Lily slowly turned her face toward him. For the first time, she looked at him. Her eyes were still swollen, but the panic in them had softened. Did Mom talk to you a lot?" "Yes," Julian said. "We talked about how much you love to draw, how you love vanilla ice cream in Lincoln Park, and how you always sleep hugging your teddy bear." "She was so proud of you." Lily swallowed, put the bottle down, and hugged the bear again. "After the funeral, Daddy Mark wouldn't look at me. Aunt Jessica said I ruined everything. She said as soon as Dad signed all the papers, I wouldn't be there anymore. I tried so hard to be good." Her voice faltered. She added softly, "I miss Mom so much. She read me a story every night. Charlotte's Web or Goodnight Moon. After reading, she'd sing You Are My Sunshine. When she sang, I wasn't afraid of the dark. Now, I can't turn the light off at night." Julian's chest tightened, but he kept his voice steady. He let the silence hang, letting her words rest in the air. He remembered the hospital room, the smell of disinfectant, Sarah's face gaunt from the cancer, and her last call, "If anything happens, please look out for her from me." And now her daughter was beside him, confessing she was afraid of the dark. "No child should ever have to prove they deserve a home," Julian said slowly. "This is not your fault. Adults grieve in complicated ways, and sometimes they let others lead them. But that doesn't make you a mistake. You are safe here." Lily didn't respond. After a moment, her small finger slid onto the sleeve of Julian's jacket, just barely touching it, as if testing if he was real. Julian stayed still. He signaled and moved into the slow lane. "Tonight, just rest. Tomorrow we'll talk to some good people. There's a detective named Maria. And, if you're okay with it, I'll take you to see a child psychologist, just to make sure you're sleeping and eating okay. Not because anything is wrong with you." Lily nodded slightly. The car approached the city. The silence in the car was different now. It felt like a resting place. Julian glanced in the mirror and saw her eyes, still red, but fixed on him, as if he were her anchor. "Lily," he said, "I will not abandon you." The girl looked up, her lips trembling. Her voice was so soft it was almost a sigh. Did she ever tell you who I should trust, if I was ever alone?" Julian didn't answer right away. He put his warm hand gently over her small one. "Let's get you home first," he said. "Then I'll tell you." The car stopped in front of a high-rise in Lincoln Park. The doorman, Mr. Harris, opened the car door. His eyes softened at the sight of the small girl clutching a bear, but he maintained his professional composure. "Good evening, Mr. Rivers. Could you get the bag, please, Mr. Harris?" "Yes, sir." In the elevator, Lily pressed close to Julian. Julian pushed the button for the penthouse. "Your mother did talk about me," he said quietly. "She said if anything bad ever happened, you could trust me." Lily tilted her head up, then quickly down, as if afraid to hope too much. The doors opened. Mrs. Parker, the middle-aged housekeeper, was waiting. She was direct and discreet. "I've warmed some chicken soup. There is toast and warm milk." She looked at Lily and gave a kind, brief smile, asking no questions. "Thank you, Mrs. Parker. I'll take care of her tonight. Please get some rest." In the dining room, Julian pulled out a chair for Lily. He set a bowl of soup and a small glass of milk in front of her. Steam rose, but Lily didn't touch the spoon. She sat stiffly, staring at the table. Julian sat across from her. He put his own spoon down. "When I was your age, I didn't have anyone either. I grew up in the system. Other kids made fun of my cheap shoes. People said I'd never amount to anything." Lily looked up slightly. "Back then," Julian continued, "your mother's family lived near one of the group homes. She used to come by and play with the kids. She brought cookies, used books. She remembered every one of our names. She asked what we studied, what we wanted to read. She did a lot of small things for me that turned out to be big. She showed me the way to the library. She paid for an exam fee I couldn't afford. She gave me a coat that actually fit. And most importantly, she believed in me when everyone else shook their heads. Your mother helped me find the determination to get out, so one day I could be where I am now." Lily picked up the spoon, stirred the soup once, and set it down, her lips pressed tight. Then she broke down, crying as if she'd held her tears back for days. "I just want Daddy Mark to hug me one more time. Like before Mom died. He used to lift me up. He bought me vanilla ice cream. He read me stories. Now he looks at me like I'm not even there." Julian passed her a napkin. He let her cry. "You have a right to remember," he said. "But you also have a right to be loved again. No one can steal your memories, and the future is still waiting for you." Lily wiped her eyes and picked up the milk. She took one sip, then another. The soup was still warm. She ate slowly, not because she was hungry, but because she was no longer starving herself. Julian returned from the kitchen with a small box. He opened it, revealing a scratched metal keychain in the shape of a star. "When I left the group home, this was all I had. Your mother gave it to me. She said, 'When you're scared, hold this. It will remind you that someone believes in you.' Now I'm giving it to you. When you're scared, hold it tight and remember that I am here." Lily touched the star. She looked at Julian, the caution in her eyes lessening. "What if What if Daddy Mark wants to see me? Julian kept his voice firm. The first thing is your safety. The rest is up to the adults, to take responsibility and fix things. When you are ready, we can talk about a meeting. Dinner ended. Mrs. Parker quietly cleared the tray. Julian led Lily to a guest room. The bed was made and a small moon-shaped nightlight was on the table. Is this... Yes, Julian said. Your mom picked it out. She was afraid she wouldn't live to see you grow up, but she chose to believe. She believed good people would find you. Lily nodded and climbed into bed. Julian dimmed the lights, leaving only the soft glow. Before closing the door, he spoke through the small gap. If you need me, call out. Anytime. The door closed gently. The hallway light stayed on. Julian went to his study and opened his briefcase. A faded photograph emerged. Sarah, smiling, leaning against his shoulder. He placed the photo on his desk. His phone lit up. A message from Anna Roberts. Need me to arrange the meeting with Detective Maria and the child psychologist? Dr. Leah Jimenez has an opening tomorrow morning. Julian replied. Book it. 9 a.m. and contact attorney Michael Torres for the afternoon. Thanks, Anna. He sat in the silence, listening for footsteps. Nothing. Just the steady breathing of a child who had finally fallen asleep. He held the photo. I'll keep my promise, Sarah. While Julian watched over Lily, across town, the sharp clink of a glass hit a wooden bar. Mark Anderson leaned on the counter, the smell of whiskey mixing with stale smoke. Marcus Sully Sullivan, his longtime drinking buddy, sat beside him. Drink up, Mark, Sully laughed. It'll clear your head. Mark downed the glass. She's a burden, he slurred. When I look at her, all I see are things that are never coming back. Sully signaled for another round. Don't overthink it. You need to get it done. Sign it, and you'll finally have peace. The bar door opened. Jessica Hayes walked in, her red dress catching the light. She walked straight to Mark, placing a slender hand on his shoulder. You're exhausted, Mark. It's natural. The girl looks too much like her mother, always reminding you. You need rest. Mark turned his face away but didn't shrug off her touch. He ordered another. At the other end of the bar, a young woman got up, pretending to take a phone call. She wore a baseball cap and a dark jacket, her eyes missing nothing. She was Detective Maria Santos, a homicide detective whose habit was to remain a shadow until the exact right moment. Jessica's gaze shifted to the door. Carla Bianco entered, holding a thick envelope. Carla slid the envelope into Jessica's purse with practiced skill and leaned in to whisper. It's all in there. The power of attorney for the trust fund, transfer orders, and the draft agreement. Just needs his signature. Jessica nodded slightly. She turned back to Mark, pressing closer, her voice like honey. Honey, you just have to sign. I'll take care of the rest. I promise everything will be clean. The accounts, the house, no one will bother you anymore. Before we continue, please take a moment to leave a comment about this story and rate it from 1 to 10. How are you feeling? If there's anything you'd like to share, I'm always here to listen. I hope you find a moment of peace and reflection as you follow this healing story and its journey of courage and justice. Mark's hand hovered over the paper. He could feel the small, rectangular shape of an old photograph in his wallet. The three of them at the Lincoln Park Zoo, Sarah laughing, Lily on his shoulders. A memory from a different life. Mark, just sign it, Jessica urged, her voice smooth. It's just a formality. It will make the pain go away. He's right, buddy, Sully added, topping off his glass. Rip the Band-Aid off. Mark closed his eyes. He picked up the cheap pen. His hand trembled, but he scrawled his name. The ink sealed the betrayal. Across the room, Detective Maria Santos's phone captured the video. The coercion. The signature. The triumphant smile Jessica shared with Carla. The next morning, Julian's phone buzzed with a simple text from Santos. We have it. Audio, video, and the account transfers. It's done. A cold resolve settled over Julian. He first took Lily to see her neighbor, Mrs. Eleanor Price. The elderly woman opened the door and pulled Lily into a gentle hug. I saw it all, Mr. Rivers, Eleanor said, her voice trembling with anger. I watched that child kneel on the cold ground, begging. He pushed her, and that woman, Jessica, she just smiled and shut the door. I yelled out, but they didn't care. Julian recorded her official statement. "Thank you, Mrs. Price. Your testimony is vital." He immediately called his colleague, Michael Torres, a shark in the courtroom. "Michael, we're moving now. I have the neighbor's sworn testimony, and Santos has the bar evidence. I want an emergency protection order, a freeze on the estate, and full custody." "I'll file immediately," Torres replied, his voice all business. "We'll be in front of a judge by tomorrow. They won't know what hit them." The family courtroom was cold and sterile. Julian and Torres sat on one side, a thick binder on the table. Across the aisle, Jessica sat with her polished lawyer, Dasa, whispering confidently. Mark sat behind them, looking pale, sick, and hungover. Judge Coleman, a woman known for her sharp intellect and low tolerance for games, presided. "This is an emergency hearing for the protection of the minor, Lily Anderson. Mr. Torres, you may begin." Dasa, the opposing lawyer, immediately interrupted. "Your Honor, before we begin, the defense submits a psychological evaluation. It states the child is unstable. She is prone to fantasies and inventing stories to seek attention. We believe Mr. Rivers is manipulating her to gain control of the estate." Torres stood slowly. "Objection. We'd like to know the name and credentials of the expert who performed this overnight evaluation." Judge Coleman looked at the paper. "This document is unsigned by any licensed professional. It holds no weight here. Mr. Dasa, I suggest you move on to actual facts." Dasa flushed, sitting down. Torres called Mrs. Price. She repeated her story clearly and emotionally. Dasa tried to discredit her as a nosy, lonely old woman, but her testimony was unshakable. "I know what I saw. The court calls Lily Anderson." Lily, clutching her bear, looked terrified. Julian knelt beside her. "Just the truth, Lily. Look at me or the judge." "Just the truth." She climbed into the high witness chair, her feet dangling far above the floor. Dasa began his cross-examination, his tone dripping with fake sympathy. "Lily, honey, it's scary being here, isn't it? Did Mr. Rivers promise you gifts? Maybe a new teddy bear? If you said bad things about your Aunt Jessica?" "Objection!" Julian snapped, rising to his feet. "He's badgering a child and implying coercion." "Sustained," the judge said, glaring at Dasa. "One more question like that, and you'll be in contempt. Watch yourself." Torres stepped forward, his voice gentle. "Lily, can you tell the judge why you were afraid that day?" Lily's voice was a whisper. Because Aunt Jessica told Daddy Mark that when he signed the papers, I wouldn't be there anymore. She said I was dead weight." A quiet gasp went through the room. Jessica shot Dasa a furious look. Dasa pushed back. "Your Honor, this is precisely the fantasy I mentioned. The child is traumatized and confused." Jessica leaned over, grabbing Mark's arm, her nails digging in. "Tell them she's lying," she hissed. "Tell them she's confused. Do it now, or we lose everything." Mark stared at his shoes, trembling. Lily looked past the lawyers, her gaze finding her stepfather. Her voice was small but clear. "Daddy," Mark froze, his head snapping up. Do you remember Lincoln Park? The Sunday Mom was reading her book on the green blanket? You gave me a piggyback ride and said we were going to find the sun. You bought me 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream. One melted all over my hand and you laughed. You laughed and licked it off. I said, "Ew, gross," and you laughed harder. The courtroom was utterly silent. Julian stood still, his jaw tight. You made a little boat from a coffee receipt, Lily continued, tears now rolling down her face. You put it in the water. You said if the wind was right, it would float all the way to Mom, and the wind was perfect that day. You used to be the best daddy. Why don't you even know me anymore? Mark broke. It wasn't a sound of sadness. It was a sound of shattering. A raw sob tore from his chest and he slumped forward. I got it wrong, he choked out, the words muffled by his hands. Oh God, Sarah. I let Jessica. I abandoned my little girl. I did it. It was me. Jessica stood up, her face a mask of rage. He's clearly distraught. This child is manipulating him. He's not well! Your Honor? Michael Torres interrupted loudly. At this time, the prosecution would like to call Detective Maria Santos. Santos took the stand, calm and professional. We were investigating Ms. Hayes regarding suspected fraud against the estate of Sarah Anderson. Last night, we observed her and an associate, Marcus Sullivan, coercing Mr. Anderson, who was heavily intoxicated, into signing documents. She played the audio from the bar. Jessica's clear, sharp voice filled the court. "Just sign it, Mark. I'll take care of the rest." "The account's the house. She'll be gone, and we can finally be free." Jessica turned white. Santos continued. "We also have bank records. The psychological evaluation was faked." The day after the funeral, Ms. Hayes began transferring assets from Sarah Anderson's trust fund to an LLC. That LLC is owned by Carla Bianco. Torres called a terrified Carla Bianco, who confessed to the scheme in exchange for a plea deal. He called Sully, who admitted they got Mark drunk specifically to sign the papers. Dasa sat down, defeated, and removed his glasses. Judge Coleman looked at Jessica over the top of her spectacles. Her voice was cold. "Ms. Hayes, you have committed fraud, forgery, and conspiracy. You exploited a grieving man and systematically terrorized a child for financial gain. You are a predator. You will be remanded into custody immediately pending sentencing." "No," Jessica screamed, lunging forward. "You can't. Mark, tell them! Tell them you love me." But Mark was only looking at Lily, his face a ruin of shame. The judge hit the gavel. "Bailiff!" As Jessica was cuffed and led away, still screaming, the judge continued. "Mr. Anderson, your actions were reprehensible. You failed your daughter in every conceivable way. However, it is clear you are also a victim of profound manipulation. The court grants full temporary custody to Mr. Julian Rivers. You will have supervised visitation, contingent on 90 days of sobriety and mandatory grief counseling." Mark nodded, tears of shame and a tiny flicker of relief streaming. "Thank you, Your Honor. I'll do anything." Months passed. Mark was sober. He attended every counseling session. He worked at a small, dusty wood shop, finding solace in the repetitive motion of sanding wood. His weekly supervised visits with Lily, overseen by a kind but firm social worker, became the anchor of his new life. He was rebuilding himself from the foundation up. Julian, meanwhile, had seamlessly stepped into the role of a father. He honored Sarah's memory by establishing this Sarah's Light Foundation for children in crisis. He provided Lily with stability, patience, and the unwavering safety she had lost. He helped her with her homework and taught her how to handle the nightlight herself. One bright Saturday afternoon, they met at Lincoln Park. The sun was warm on the grass. Mark arrived, on time, holding a small hand-carved wooden star. He looked healthy, his eyes clear for the first time in a year. "Hi, Lily Bean," he said softly. Lily looked at Julian, who nodded, smiling. She stepped forward. "Hi, Daddy." Mark's breath hitched. He held out the star. "I made this for you. It's just a start. To remind you." "I'm trying." Lily took it, tracing the smooth edges. She looked at Julian, who stood back, then back at Mark. She reached out her left hand to Julian and her right hand to Mark. "Mom used to say we were 3 stars in the same sky," she said quietly. Julian took one hand. Mark, trembling, took the other. They stood there for a long moment, a broken family shattered by grief and greed, now slowly, carefully being pieced back together. The past was not forgotten, the scars remained, but the future was, for the first time, visible. They walked toward the lake, together, to see if the wind was right for a paper boat.